Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar, where we will look at the impacts of cyber attacks and what you can expect to pay to put some cyber readiness steps in place. Before we get rolling, I want to remind you that the Wyoming Small Business Development Center Network is here to serve all your small business needs with no-cost, confidential advising throughout the state. The SBDC is funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration and the Wyoming Business Council, and hosted by the University of Wyoming. This particular webinar is presented as a component of our Cybersecurity for Small Business pilot program, which is completely funded by the US SBA. To contact an advisor or browse the many resources on our website, including a huge library of recorded webinars, visit us online. Now, although this is a pre-recorded video, all of our presenters are on here live today in the background. If you have a question, throw it in the chat and we'll address it at the end. Now, in last month's webinar, we talked about how to identify whether you've been a cyber attack victim and how to put an incident response plan together. Today, we're going to talk about the unthinkable. What kind of damage you and your business can suffer from being attacked. But remember, these attacks are not inevitable. You can put your business in a position to resist attacks, and that will be the closing section of our webinar. How much it can cost to be cyber ready and what precautions and protections best fit your kind of business. Kaeden is going to get us started by looking at some case studies and statistics about the financial impacts of cyber attacks.
Hi everyone. Today I'll be going over the financial costs and case studies of cyber attacks targeting small businesses. The information I'm about to show you was compiled by Station X and comes from a large number of sources, including Amazon, CISO, Verizon, and Wired. In 2024, 48% of small businesses suffered at least one cyber attack. 25% say they've experienced more than one incident. 73% of U.S. small business owners reported a cyber attack in 2023. An estimated 90% of cybersecurity breaches worldwide occur in small businesses. The average recovery time for a small business is 279 days. And 60% of small businesses close within 6 months of being hacked. Here we have a graph showing some of the most frequently encountered consequences of cyber attacks on small businesses. This was provided by Station X and kind of compiles a lot of information and some of the information I didn't show on this list here. Additionally, we have some more statistics to go over. Cyber attacks are very expensive to recover from, with 95% of attacks costing between $826 and $653,000 per incident. According to a report by CNBC, the average cost is around $200,000 per incident. Most of these costs come from money directly stolen from bank accounts. However, a good chunk also comes from operational disruption, investigations, lawyers, and remediation, and all that can add up rapidly. Only 8% of businesses with fewer than 50 employees have a dedicated cybersecurity budget, and 59% of small business owners claim that their business is too small to target. Small business owners tend to underestimate the consequences of these cyber attacks, with 40% expecting an attack to cost less than $1,000, and 60% thinking it will take less than 3 months to recover. As I showed with some of the information on previous slides, that $1,000 is about 200 times less than what you're actually probably going to pay, and you're likely going to take at least 3 times as long to recover than what is listed, than what you might think. Due to the sensitive nature of the information involved in cybersecurity attacks, it was challenging to find case study examples of small to medium businesses affected and the financial losses they experienced. I've compiled 6 case studies here, and we'll start with the Efficient Escrow. Efficient Escrow is a company based out of California. Cybercriminals use a Trojan virus to gain access to Efficient Escrow bank data and stole $1.5 million over 3 transfers. The company only recovered from the first transfer, meaning a loss of $1.1 million, and as a result, they were shut down by state regulators 3 days after reporting the loss. Greenford Sales is an automotive company. They lost $23,000 when hackers broke into their network, adding 9 fake payrolls to the company payroll in less than 24 hours, and then paid themselves a total of $63,000 before the company managed to catch on. Greenford thankfully did manage to cancel some of the transfers in time, but still lost a total of $23,000. Right Hotels is a hotel company. They lost $1 million after thieves gained access to a company email account. The thieves then spent a number of months gathering information from emails, which allowed the hackers to impersonate the owner and convince the bookkeeper to wire money to an account in China. Patco Construction is a company based out of Maine. They lost $588,000 in a Trojan horse attack. They managed to recover some of that money lost, but much of what they recovered was offset by interest on overdraft loans from their bank. Experimental Link is a manufacturing company that fell victim to a phishing attack that resulted in a loss of $1,340,000. They had initially lost $1.9 million, but they ended up suing their bank for failing to prevent the fraud, resulting in making the bank cover $560,000 of what they lost in total. And finally, with Alpha Beta, an IT company based out of Australia, they fell victim to a phishing attack where cybercriminals impersonated the founder of the company by subtly altering his email address, and that ended up leading to a loss of more than $50,000 from the company's account.
Thank you, Kaeden. The financial impact of an attack can be devastating to a small business, but what other impacts do you need to acknowledge? Ian is going to show us how your reputation may suffer short and long-term damage as a result of an attack.
So now moving on to the reputational cost when it comes to a cyber attack. So how does a cyber attack also damage your reputation? Well, clients will lose trust in your business when a data breach or a cyber attack occurs. This is because they can perceive that associating with your business could be a potential risk for them, as it compromises their information, their data, their banking information, any personal data that they could have given to you could be potentially at risk during these attacks. It also damages business relationships because they will also lose trust, as business partners will expect you to have the same standards of security and capacity to protect sensitive information as they do. It's also relatively perceived that when your business has these breaches, that they could be a potential risk for your business partners, as any information that they have could allow them to get into your business partner's information and cause problems for them there. Now, when it comes to hard numbers, 65% of customers who will lose trust in a business after a data breach, and of that 65%, 21% will never return to a business after a breach. So, what can we do to mitigate the reputational damage? Well, having a plan of action if information is compromised or important systems are down is going to be paramount to that, because being prepared for when these things happen, if they do happen, is one of the best things that you can do in order to show off that you can still be trusted, that you are still worth being associated with, as well as being transparent and communicative during a data breach when it happens. Clients want to know what's happening with their data and what you are doing to make sure their data is secure. And being able to know when their data is compromised as soon as you know is best for them, so that way they can do anything on their side to try and protect themselves. And that goes both ways, and that goes doubly for any business partners, because they also need to make sure that their systems are going to be protected, as any association could paint them as a next target.
Thanks, Ian. Marree is going to wrap it up here by looking at how you can be proactive to ward off cyber attacks, what level of protection best fits your operation, and the range of costs you might consider.
Cybersecurity isn't one size fits all. Your business needs the right level of protection for your risks, budget, and growth. Today we'll explore 3 tiers: bronze, silver, and gold. Each builds on the last, but all include non-negotiables like employee training and incident response. Feel free to mix and match options from each tier to build a customized cybersecurity toolkit that aligns with your industry and budget. You may want all or just 1 or 2 tools from these tiers. This list is simply a recommendation, and your ideal solution may combine elements from different tiers or include tools not featured on this list. We will also discuss some free or more cost-effective options for some software and the restrictions to these, such as open source restrictions for government contracts. Your handout also includes a breakdown of the estimated costs for each tier, which we will briefly explore. First, let's just briefly cover some terms on this slide. Endpoint protection or antivirus is your basic software to detect and block malware on devices. It's essential for stopping viruses and ransomware. While traditional antivirus only blocks known threats, endpoint protection adds real-time behavior monitoring, behavior analysis, and firewall integration to stop zero-day attacks and advanced malware, which is why I've added it to this tier so you can choose to upgrade from your standard antivirus if you wish. Think of antivirus as a lock on your door, and endpoint protection is a security system with cameras, alarms, and a fancy gate. Firewall is a network barrier that blocks unauthorized access while allowing safe traffic. It's your first line of defense against hackers. Multi-factor authentication requires extra verification like a text code that's beyond passwords. Your password manager securely stores and generates strong, unique passwords. It eliminates weak or reused passwords. Backups or cloud storage is automated copies of critical data. It ensures recovery after ransomware disasters. It does not have to be cloud-based, and you can use an external drive that is not connected to your network for backups. VPN encrypts internet connections, it's often utilized by remote workers. It protects data on public Wi-Fi. Your patch or update management automatically fixes software vulnerabilities, which prevents or exploits of known weaknesses. Employee training teaches staff to spot phishing and other scams and teaches best practices for your business. It's your human firewall against social engineering. Incident response plan is a step-by-step guide for handling breaches. It minimizes damage and downtime. Cybersecurity insurance protects small businesses from financial losses due to cyber incidents like data breaches or ransomware attacks, covering costs such as legal fees, recovery, and customer notifications. There's not a free or open source version of this, and the price depends on several factors such as the business size, industry, and the level of coverage. And here are some open source or budget-friendly options for each. We do not endorse or promote any of these products that are mentioned. It's simply to provide a starting point for your individual research. If you're wondering what open source software is, it is software with publicly accessible source code that anyone can view, modify, and distribute, often for free. It can benefit small businesses by reducing cost, offering flexibility, and enabling customization without vendor lock-in. While open source software options do exist for each solution, be aware that most government contracts and compliance standards like HIPAA prohibit their use. Always verify licensing and compliance requirements before implementation. Some open source tools do require a learning curve or some IT knowledge, so keep that in mind as well. When finding some budget-friendly options, I just searched open source or cheap/free endpoint protection for small businesses on my search engine and then moved down the list. There are a lot of vendors out there that offer a wide range of services, so please make sure to explore these options in greater detail. Pricing greatly depends on a list of factors such as number of employees, number of devices, complexity of the organization, type of data handled, and the level of security needed, so it's important to view these estimates as rough estimates only. The silver tier builds on bronze by adding email security and upgrading from your antivirus service to full endpoint protection for stronger defense. Here's what you get. With endpoint protection, it now includes advanced behavior monitoring to stop both known and unknown threats like zero-day attacks. And with email security, it protects against phishing, spoofing, and malicious attachments, which are the most common attack vendors. Silver offers the best balance of protection for most small businesses. Here's another rough estimate for the silver tier. I encourage you to not let these prices be intimidating because there are a wide range of vendors that offer different pricing options. Lastly, we will discuss the gold tier, but first let's quickly run through tools and their definitions that may be unfamiliar to you. SIM monitoring collects and analyzes logs from all your systems, such as your servers, firewalls, and endpoints, and it uses AI and rule-based alerts to detect suspicious activity, such as multiple failed logins or unusual file access. Zero Trust Access adopts a never trust, always verify attitude, so every access request is checked, even if the user is inside the network. And it uses the least privilege access, which means that users only get permissions that they absolutely need. Hardware security keys are physical devices for hack-proof logins. Dark web monitoring alerts if employees or business data is leaked on the internet. Penetration testing or pen testing is ethical hackers simulating attacks to find flaws. Cybersecurity professionals or managed service providers are dedicated experts to manage defenses. They offer expertise, proactive defenses such as setting up firewalls, backups, employee training and monitoring, guidance for legal compliance and insurance, and offer fast response time in the event of a cyber attack. For these reasons alone, a cybersecurity professional or MSP may be a solution for your business. Now, you may be noticing the dollar signs next to Microsoft Sentinel, and this is because I noticed it can quickly become expensive depending on its usage, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Keep in mind, gold tier prices are based on if you have 25 or more employees. But even if you do not have this many employees, the gold tier is recommended if your business is in the energy, healthcare, finance, or legal sector. These prices are also based on vendor prices and do not show open source options. Some of these vendors also offer combined services. For example, Bitdefender's Small Business Security Plan offers protection from malware, phishing, and other various threats, along with password management, VPN service, mobile security, and digital identity protection. So this could potentially save you money rather than paying subscriptions for individual services. As always, we encourage you to conduct your own research to find cybersecurity solutions that best align with your business. And don't forget, we are always here to help you should you have any questions.
Thank you, Marree, Ian, and Kaeden. If you have any questions for our panel, go ahead and drop them in the chat while I do a quick plug for our cybersecurity program. In addition to these monthly webinars, we also provide you with no-cost advising on any cyber readiness issue. That might just be a quick touch base to address a single issue, or it might be a comprehensive approach through our program partners at Cyber Wyoming and their Made Safe in Wyoming program. We'll take a look at an inventory of your digital and hardware assets, make cyber readiness recommendations, and help you develop administrative and personnel policies. We can even help you calculate a risk score to see how a cyber attack might affect your particular business. More about that in a minute. Our program can also provide access to some cybersecurity tools, and we can work with you to create a customized approach that best fits your current needs. And since we're talking about minimizing risks to your business, one key component of Cyber Wyoming's Made Safe program involves calculating a financial risk score for your business. We basically go through a comprehensive checklist of cyber readiness strategies and reach a score that shows, based on the sales of your business and your current state of cyber readiness, how much a cyber attack might cost you. Then, after going through the program and mitigating any identified issues, we'll generate another score to see the positive financial impact those measures resulted in. It's really a great way to quantify putting cyber readiness strategies into